Hello everyone, I hope sound is okay. I am in the tram now and moving towards city center to record second update. Although I will start here and well, today is still 13th of September and now is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon Moscow time. And first update that I want to share with you is about this long-range missile strikes deep inside the Russian territory with the weapons that NATO formally provided NATO member states to Kiev regime. And well, for the last couple of days, this topic was constantly in the media. And latest update is that, well, according to reports that we are receiving, possibly announcement about authorization to use these long-range weapon systems against Russia will be announced during the assembly in UN that will take place from 24th to 30th of September, I believe. This was reported initially in Western media outlets, and Russian media also pay attention to this topic, although, as I said in previous updates, Russian high-ranking officials already stated a number of times that most likely authorization is already given for these strikes, and whatever steps are made by Western ruling class now is just a formalization of that and media operation to prepare ground and somewhat prepare public in the West for the next stage in escalation that Western ruling class is planning against Russia. And when it comes to position of Moscow, this morning I spoke about statement of Russian president, who basically directly said that there is no talk about authorization of the long-range strikes to be given to Kiev regime, because in no circumstances Kiev regime forces will be able to utilize those long-range weapon systems and use them for strikes deep inside Russian territory, because satellite navigation targeting data is provided by NATO, and therefore this is all this story is about authorization of NATO strikes on Russia, not Kiev regime strikes on deep inside Russian territory, but authorization of NATO strikes deep inside Russia, which directly makes this number of countries, at least from NATO, involved in this confrontation. And the Russian president was very direct that there will be some retaliatory steps taken, or response will definitely not force it to wait too long. So there will be some response on that. And well, I will continue later on this update. Well, I just come out from metro on a random station on the central line. If you see map of Moscow's metro, you will see it's a circle. One of the lines is exactly the circle that goes around the central parts of Moscow, and this station is Krasnopesninskaya station. This is metro, by the way. And I have not ever made video from this area. This is first time. And let me show you some surroundings, by the way. There is Moscow Zoo, I believe. And on the other side, this is a residential building, famous buildings from Seven Sisters that were built during the Stalin era. One of the buildings from this Seven Sisters is Foreign Ministry, and another one is main building of Moscow State University. And in relatively short time, I want to start new series on my Patreon and Boosted channels about architecture of Moscow. And first, or one of the first episodes in that series will be about these seven sisters, these Stalinkas as we call it, or Stalinsky Vysotki, or Stalin's high-rise buildings or skyscrapers. And they all look somewhat similar, but are very different. One of their buildings are former Ukraine hotel. Now it's Radisson Hotel. And well, anyways, by the way, some let me show you this also. Some new complex here, office blocks, I guess. Okay, and I don't even know which way to go, but no, just let's walk around some little square here, and well, I have to continue with the news, isn't it? And next news that I want to share with you is also about this topic of long-range strikes by NATO deep inside the Russian territory. And TASS news agency is reporting that this topic will be one of the main topics of discussion during today's meeting between Starmer, British Prime Minister, and US President Biden. And also, of course, two leaders will discuss Middle East and some other issues, maybe even trade agreement between the two countries. Although rumors are that, yes, one of the main topics will be formalization of their decisions or announcement of the decisions, how they're going to play it out about these long-range strikes deep inside Russian territory. This meeting maybe already had happened. Starmer is in US, that's for sure. But because of the time difference, I cannot tell you for sure. Is that meeting between Starmer and Biden has happened already, or will happen in next couple of hours? In any case, in tomorrow's update, I will share with you. I will share in update information that become available about topics of conversation between the two. But yet again, dear friends, Russian president was very clear on this matter, isn't it? He said that it's not about, and people who can hear and listen should hear and listen in among the Western ruling class, because Russian President Vladimir Putin was very clear that Moscow sees all these discussions not as a topic allow or not to allow Kiev regime to strike deep inside Russia. This topic is about NATO, allow or not to allow NATO member states strikes deep inside the Russian territory, authorize those strikes or not. And if long-range strikes will take place with Storm Shadow, British Storm Shadow, French Scalp EG, or US ATACMS, or any other long-range weapon systems, because rumors are that US might already deliver to its military contingent into Ukraine JASSM long-range cruise missiles, which is somewhat similar to Storm Shadow, although has a longer range and are nuclear capable, so a huge difference. There are somewhat similarities, but major differences also. So if those strikes will take place ever, today, tomorrow, in a week or 2 weeks time, or ever, then Moscow will see it as a strike on Russian Federation by countries that are operating with those missiles. In this particular case, US, UK, and France. And if somehow German Taurus missiles will arrive on the battlefield, on theater of operation, then Germany will be in this список. How should I say список? In this list also. So, and Moscow is warning that there will be a response on such a step from the Washington, London, Paris, or any other capital of the West if they will start striking on Russian territory. So, I mean, theoretically speaking, one may argue that we are now on a verge of a major escalation between Russia and NATO. I still don't believe that there can be any full-scale confrontation between Russia and NATO. I just don't buy into that narrative. But if you take in account craziness of the Western ruling class, then I mean, nothing, literally nothing can be excluded. Anyways, let's continue with some other news. And next news is also about, unfortunately, about some negative stuff about confrontation between NATO and Russia. And Russian Defense Ministry, by the way, deputy of the Russian Ministry of Defense, Alexander Fomin, during his visit into Peking, where forum is taking place, 11th forum of Xianshan is taking place, he stated that NATO member states are actively preparing military confrontation with Russia. To be more precise, NATO is actively preparing steps to send its military personnel to Ukraine, which eventually obviously means escalation with Russia, possibly direct confrontation. And well, whenever I see these informations about deployment of NATO troops into Ukraine, I always mention my reading of the big picture, which is that Ukraine will be divided. As I said many times before, once this conflict will end, Ukraine will be divided. Western Ukraine will be controlled most likely by NATO, by the West, and eventually probably will be reclaimed by Poland, Hungary, and Romania. And the rest of the Ukraine most likely will be controlled by Russia. Also, another park here. Let's go. Let me turn the camera, by the way. And simultaneously I will continue with the news. So, yes, after this conflict will end, most likely Ukraine will be divided. Western Ukraine will be controlled by West. And this building, by the way, it's on the next bank. There is a river here, isn't it? Should be a river, not far away from here, because this is a government building, Russia's government's building, so-called White House, and it stands on the bank of the Moscow River. So we are not far away from Moscow River, obviously. And okay, let me turn the camera now. So yes, as I said, once the conflict will end, yes, Western Ukraine will be controlled by NATO, rest of the Ukraine most likely by Russia. Although there is a possibility that Kiev and surrounding areas may maintain statehood or quasi-statehood on the political map. And in order to establish control over the Western Ukraine, obviously NATO has to send its troops there, isn't it? And whenever I see informations like that Russian deputy of the Russian Defense Ministry is stated, I always visualize that map of divided this former Soviet republic on the name of Ukraine. And I believe Deputy is correct. NATO is preparing its troops to deploy into Ukraine, but I believe these preparations are to occupy Western Ukraine, not to go any further, not to enter direct full-scale confrontation with Russia, although some local-scale skirmishes between NATO and Russian troops are possible, obviously. But still, main goal of this training will be to, will be rapid deployment of the NATO troops into Western Ukraine to establish full control over it. And probably at that point, we will also hear from the West that they are imposing no-fly zone over the Western Ukraine. That's what is going to happen. But this is only Western Ukraine. The rest of the Ukraine is not a concern of their, not going to be a concern of their Western ruling class, because eventually agreement will be made between Moscow and Western major capitals about lines of divide of Ukraine. And as I said, everything, with the exception of Western Ukraine, will be in Russian sphere of control, administration, and eventually most likely will join Russian Federation after referendums will take place and the local people will express their will. But yet again, by the way, if we take into account the level of craziness of the Western ruling class, anything is possible, and I guess no one will be extremely surprised if those elements, extreme elements in Western ruling elites, will provoke even direct confrontation between Russia and NATO. Let's continue with some more news. And this is also a big story, by the way, today, that Russia expels 6 British diplomats. So Russia has revoked the accreditation of their 6 British diplomats it claims have been involved in espionage. The Federal Security Service, FSB, accused the UK of being actively involved in escalating global tensions and undermining Russia's stability. In a statement on Friday, the FSB said it had obtained documents confirming London's coordination of the escalation of their international military political situation. And then, quote, Britain has also supported subversive politics in Russia in an attempt to inflict a strategic defeat on the country. And these efforts have been spearheaded by their Foreign and their Commonwealth offices, Eastern Europe and Central Asia Directorate, EECAD, the agency added. According to FSB, after the start of the Ukraine's conflict, the EESAD was essentially transformed into a special service working against Moscow, which means that Russia considers the activities of the British diplomats working under the auspices of their office to be a security threat. In light of this and their other hostile steps by the UK, the Russia's foreign ministry, in cooperation with the relevant departments, has terminated the accreditation of 6 employees of the political department of British Embassy in Moscow, whose actions showed signs of intelligence and subversive work. Officials said, adding that Russia would demand the early termination of their missions in their country. So, well, significant escalation, I will say, political escalation in this case, between Moscow and London, and one that, yet again, probably will not surprise anyone, right? And why should even a single person in this world should be surprised that UK's foreign ministry is turned into some sort of addition of their MI6, right? These so-called foreign ministries, so-called diplomatic agencies of their Western states are basically just branches of their secret services, right? And that's why level of deterioration of the diplomatic school in the West is just on unimaginable scale, right? I'm not even sure there is anybody in the Western foreign ministries that truly can be called diplomats anymore, you know. So, me personally, not surprised to hear about these developments, and of course, because a number of British formerly diplomats have been expelled from Russia, London most likely will expel Russian diplomats from UK, which means that deterioration of the diplomatic relationships will reach new low between the two countries, which is, let's be real here, unfortunate, truly unfortunate, because as I said many times before, I don't really see a reason why should Western states be so hostile towards Russia. There is no reason for that. They should be more cooperative. They should looking for working with Russia, despite differences that we might have, our countries might have. But there is always topics that cooperation may happen, isn't it? And good relationships, or at least working relationships, build up on. But I mean, it is what it is. And also, by the way, when it comes to UK, I have news for you that truly deserves its place in a clown world episode that Alex Christoforou has in his show. And of course, Alex Christoforou is one of the hosts of Duran, great Duran show, Duran channel. I mean, leading voices of reason, by the way, in this field of news and political commentary. Alex Christoforou and also Alexander Mercouris, of course, hosts of the Duran. And the news itself is that UK's crime minister's bug was stolen at a police conference, by the way. When I see this news, I was struggling to believe in this, because, I mean, come on, man. There is a police conference. UK's crime minister is attending and her bug was stolen. I mean, what is going on in UK, by the way? I mean, I used to live in UK, by the way. I like this country. It's a wonderful people, by the way. I have great memories. But when I was living there, UK was, I mean, wonderful. Of course, every country has some issues, and UK has had some issues some 20 years ago also. But I mean, it was okay, man. It was okay. And I lived in several cities there, including London. But now, man, when I see some news from UK, when I see some videos when people are macheting each other on daylight, purse of crime police chief is stolen on a police conference. I mean, this is something, I don't know, man, out of this world, man. It's difficult to understand what the hell is going on there, man. It's seems like local authorities are completely losing touch with reality, and their system itself is breaking down, or it seems like, at least from outsider viewer. But yes, that's what had happened, by the way, and many Russian media outlets reported about it, and British media outlets also, because it is outrageous, isn't it, that even police conference is not safe. Wow. Also, a couple of more news, dear friends, and I will end this update. So dozens of India citizens have returned home from Russia. I guess their contracts with Russian armed forces have been terminated. And after India's Prime Minister Modi highlighted the topic of Indian citizens participating in special military operation on Russian side, and their number of and families of number of those soldiers were demanding their return, Russian president promised to his Indian colleague that he will look into it. And let's be clear, by the way, I mean, why should Russian president ever have had the time for such issues, man? Who is signing contract with the defense ministry and for what reasons and stuff? I mean, president is too busy, isn't it? I mean, he has to deal with some global issues, but India's prime minister asked him. They have great relationships, and I guess Russian president look into this matter. And we have news now that some 45 speaking at their media briefing in the Indian capital, foreign ministry spokesperson of India, Randhir Jaiswal, said that 45 Indians in total have been discharged from Russian military, with 10 of them returning before Modi's visit to Russia. Efforts are ongoing to secure release of around 50 more people, he added. So 10 people were discharged from Russian armed forces before Modi's visit, 35 seems like after that, and another 50 will go back to India, I guess in fairly short time. But yet again, these people, by the way, they signed the contract, right, with Russian armed forces. And I mean, contracts are some serious stuff, man. It's not like today I feel like I want to join, and tomorrow I'm on a different mood, and now let me go home. I mean, it does not work that way. And only reason why these people were discharged is because of this friendship between two countries, basically, and two nations. And I guess there is some possibilities from legal standpoint to release these people from their duties. But yet again, I mean, people should think what they are signing up for, because this media noise around this topic may basically force Russian armed forces to block any applicants from India that will apply for Russian military, and that may be something that many citizens of India will find, unfortunate, because they are not just applying to serve in Russian army. They are doing this for some may do this for money, because in Russian armed forces there is good pay, really. And some may do it for citizenship. Some people may had a dream to become a citizen of Russia, and they have opportunity now to serve in Russian armed forces, prove themselves, and become a citizen. And because of the actions of a few dozen of citizens of India that sign up for a contract without thinking about it much, because of the actions of those people, hundreds and possibly thousands of others gonna lose their opportunities, right? Which is not really fair. But yet again, this is the life, man. I mean, if it was up to me, by the way, if I was Russian Defense Ministry, I would say, you know what? Don't sign up anyone from India. Just don't take anyone, because we don't need this. Media noise. We don't need this politicization of this topic, right? So, one way or another, but issue is being looked at, and will be resolved in fairly short time. And all the citizens of India that has change of mind, and want now to go back to India. They will most likely will be discharged from armed forces and will go back to India. And also, by the way, interesting news, if you are interested in some statistics about level of support of Russian president here in Russia. Today, TASS news agency published information about latest studies from Fund общественного мнения, Fund of Public, how should I say it, man? Фонд общественного мнения. My wife is next to me. She's always, whenever she can, she's helping me to make sure that I will not forget to turn on the microphone or something. She's basically a producer of this show or director. And well, according to latest study of a Fund of Public Opinion, that's how you translate, I guess, общественное мнение. Yes, it is. 78% of the Russian citizens are in full support of Russian president. They have a trust in president, which is a huge number, by the way, isn't it? 78%. 78%. And about 80%, 78% has trust in president, and 80% believes the Russian president is doing a good job for a country and the public. So that's the numbers, by the way. That's the numbers. And also a couple of more news. For example, you might be find this news interesting, that Krasnodar region alone of the Russian Federation shipped some 14.8 million tons of grain to their African nations, which is a 14.4% increase compared to previous year. And this is just numbers from January to September of 2024. So before end of this year, this number probably will increase even further than that. Also, by the way, Russian president stated that some 34 countries wants to join BRICS, and I guess representatives of these 34 countries will participate in a BRICS summit that will take place in October, I believe, in Kazan city, capital of Russia's Tatarstan Autonomous Republic. And one more news, dear friends, and I will end this update on that, which is that Russian Central Bank, as I predicted, and many others, further increase interest rates today from 18 to 20 points, which is big, of course, which is big, but yet again, I guess this is the only way that central bank, not only way, but one of the ways that central bank thinks overheating of the economy can be tackled, so that balance will be reached between demand and supply. So yes, central bank increase interest rates up to 20%. Probably, or at least there is a possibility that there will be another increase for 2 more percentage points this year or maybe next year. And whatever the case, from 2025, I guess interest rates will start decreasing, because this balance between demand and supply will be reached. But in 2024, 2025, yes, there might be one or two, several more increases in interest rates to make sure that this overheating of economy is tackled on every way possible. And this is it for now, dear friends. This is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update this walk and talk video interesting, informative, maybe somewhat entertaining. And if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything, and share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet, on any other platforms that you are actively using. This is the only way we can at least try to influence algorithm. And finally, if you like my work, if you like my channels, please consider to support with donation or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page, on which I have quite a number of additional content, by the way. Subscription on my Patreon starts from $5 a month. And dear friends, today I noticed that Patreon has a new feature for free subscribers. There are subscribers that are supporting channel, and there are subscribers that are free subscribers. They don't sign up for a monthly subscription, and these free subscribers will have an opportunity now to buy. This is not correct word. How should I describe that? They will have opportunity to basically donate $3 and watch and have access to videos. I have to, study a bit more this new feature. But when I was uploading today a new episode of Behind the Scenes, I noticed that a platform was asking me to put some amount for which free subscribers could have access for the video, and minimal amount was $3. So I could not make it $1 or something. So this is new feature, by the way. This feature can be used for donations also, I guess. I don't know, but I'm just informing what I see today, although I need to study that feature a little more. But in general, monthly subscription starts from $5 on Patreon, and then you can choose your level of support, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, if you want to. So yes, all the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Have a great day, and